Hi, this demo demonstrates how to ingest large data at scale with application integration. We are using Salesforce as a data source and the bulk API v2 to optimize the data transfer, but this pattern could be applied to any connector that supports a bulk or batch mechanism.
Here is the overall concept. We use an asynchronous orchestrator-worker model to efficiently transfer large datasets. The process begins with an initiate job task that is responsible for starting the job setup. The orchestrator is then responsible for keeping track of the overall progress and managing the job status check, specifically triggering the worker processes only after the underlying Salesforce jobs are finished. The worker handles the actual data transfer in manageable chunks. It retrieves data from Salesforce and uploads these chunks to Google Cloud Storage. This process is recursive and sequential, as the worker will call back the orchestrator, mentioning the next page to ingest.
Start by ensuring your Salesforce environment has the data you want to ingest. We'll be using a SoCool query to define the data and fields to retrieve.
Next, we're creating a new connection in the Integration Connector service. Select Salesforce and fill in your connection settings.
This is an example of the configuration we are using for this demo. You will need to configure your Salesforce connection to work with the bulk API v2, which is part of the standard actions from the connector.
You can start from the template provided for large-scale data ingestion, Salesforce with bulk API. This template contains the logic described before and is specifically designed for Salesforce with the bulk API v2.
Now let's start the job. For a full sync, you begin with the Initiate Job API trigger. This will start the Salesforce bulk API query job and launch the monitoring flow. The workload input defines the job parameters. SoCool query is the Salesforce object query language that specifies the data to retrieve. Page size sets the maximum number of records to be processed in a single batch. Next page is a placeholder for pagination that should be empty at the start. Job status starts as open. GCS bucket and folder specify the folder destination in Google Cloud Storage. You should provide job unique identifier for tracking. The timer sets the polling interval for checking the job status. And finally, you should provide an email for notification.
You can check the result of the ingestion job in the GCS folder you specified as input. Feel free to modify the nomenclature of your files by adding timestamps and a page ID, or even the job ID you created for this operation. This will help you debug in case of failure. As a next step, we encourage you to create a sanity check to verify the consistency of the output files. If your final destination for this data is BigQuery, check out the BigQuery jobs to easily transfer the raw data into your destination table.
Thank you for your attention.